Dan Ives out with a new bullish note on the AI trade as he's been conducting his channel checks in Asia. He is the global head of technology research. He joins us from Hong Kong. Good morning to you, Dan.
Great to be here.
So what you found supports the bullish case for AI? Is that what you've been finding?
Yeah, I'd say overall in the region, look, demand to supply for NVIDIA chips, it's about 10 to 1, potentially 12 to 1. Look, we do these trips, 3, 4 times a year. It's about what demand looks like in the region from production. It's the use cases that are driving it, but it comes down to on the hardware side, right? And that's super bullish for NVIDIA. I think Street's underestimating numbers by anywhere from 20 to 30% next 12 to 18 months. And most of what I think this also means is like on the hyperscalers, in terms of everything we've seen from Microsoft, from Google, from Amazon, obviously Oracle that you saw today. I mean, we're only in the second inning of this all playing out. And all of our checks are just giving us more and more bullishness that this is going to continue. And I think Street's underestimating it.
So, Dan, can you elaborate on where you're doing these channel checks? Because if there are export controls, which chips are you talking about? Where are these channels that you're checking?
Yeah, I mean, if you look, especially in Taiwan and what we're seeing, from NVIDIA, I think it all comes down to what does demand to supply look like. Now, obviously you have the controls in terms of China, and that continues to be a question mark. But my view is that what does demand look like in the region? And I think what I compare it to even 3 months ago, it's probably up 20%. And I think what that shows that this demand that we're seeing across the region, especially from a production perspective, you can't argue with the demand. And the demand's being driven by the use cases. It's being driven by, obviously, big tech spending. But I think if there's a sort of a headline here, it's not slowing down. I think CapEx is going to be significantly underestimated now going into next year. And that's bullish for NVIDIA, bullish for AMD, bullish for TSMC, and, of course, on the hyperscaler side. And then you look at names like Palantir, Snowflake, Mongo, the consumption use case plays. That's where I think those continue to be just, pound the table as a broader group.
Hey, Dan, I hope you're doing dim sum for breakfast because that's how...
That is breakfast.
I know, but I had to go to Hong Kong to learn that. So I hope you're enjoying breakfast. Question about Huawei. What are you hearing there? What are you hearing about the chips that they're, basically creating to compete with NVIDIA and ultimately AMD? And, we're in a situation where they basically have import controls right now. I'm just curious, what the vibe is out there.
Yeah, it's a huge opportunity for Huawei, right? I mean, especially what's happened with big tech in China. And they're trying to narrow the gap. I think there's still, if you look where NVIDIA is globally, I think that continues to be the chip everyone wants. But look, it also speaks to, in our Ives AI30, we have Alibaba and Baidu. I think those are going to be two names from a China perspective, specifically Alibaba, that is in a prime position for that to accelerate. But it just shows, look, this is an AI arms race playing out. And that's bullish from an investor perspective on both sides, whether it's China or U.S.